Hello, everybody. I am back with my uh, everything's fixed, so yay, things are good again. So yes, let's catch up, right? Last week we had up the video that sort of was the movie version of the balcony, and this week we're going to sort of talk through right the entire play. Right, if you saw last week's video, and watched the movie, then you kind of already know sort of what's going on. Right, the movie itself doesn't treat everything. There are some significant differences that are very, very, very important to know about, that we will talk through. But overall, right, you get this idea, right, and the main idea being that these this location, the balcony, right, run by Madame Irma, is basically a house of fantasies, right? Is it a brothel? Sure, yes, it is. But at the same time, it is what Madame Irma refers to sort of as a house of illusions, a house of fantasies, right? Nothing that goes on in the house, right, is necessarily real, although, right, as she says, it's as real as everything outside, right? Madame Irma is what I would describe very much. I would very much describe her as a skeptic, right? She is a skeptic of what life is, right? She knows what she knows in her sort of house of illusions, and it has really shaped her view of the rest of the world, insofar as when she says everything in this place is as real as everything outside or is false, she really intends to tell us that life is a series of people really putting on a show for each other. And that our entry into this system is an agreement that we will play along with those games, right? Now, is there more to it than that? Sure, of course there is. But what we see in the balcony is that almost immediately our expectations get subverted. We open up with this person who looks like a priest in the middle of a brothel, who is sort of talking with the woman that he has been with, asking her whether she really committed the sins that he pardoned her for. And we may initially sort of feel like, oh no, what's going on here? Why is there somebody here doing these things? Is he a real priest? Well, no, he's not a real priest. We find this out pretty quickly, and that right sets us off on our journey, where we see right in the first couple of scenes, we see the priest, we see a general, we see a judge, right? We see an old man, or a man covered with lice, right, who wants to sort of be, completely and totally degraded. And then we meet other characters, the police chief, Roger, right, who wants to know if his image has appeared in the brothel, right? And we start to understand that a lot of people want to portray roles that they do not have. They want to play a role that gives them power. And so, right, the man who plays, I believe the role of the priest is, I think, a plumber. The man who plays the role, of the judge, right, is something else, right? Everybody plays something else in real life, and they are here to become somebody else. And during the course of the first half of this play, we sort of see that Irma's position in the revolution that's going on the outside. We continuously hear, gunfire. We hear people screaming occasionally. We even see, right, one of the people who sort of serves as a bodyguard or a servant for Madame Irma, being shot at one point, right? But Madame Irma feels very neutral about this, right? It's none of her business. Her business is within the walls of the brothel, right? Looking in on the people to make sure that things are safe, right? She wants to protect her girls in general, right? She talks about her girls a lot, and the fact that the people who are working for her, should be protected, right? Excuse me. My apologies. So, what can we learn from what Madame Irma believes, one, about this place, this balcony? What do we learn about the revolution? And then what do we learn about the government and the government officials who show up asking for assistance, right? We're going to talk about that in the next couple of videos. We're going to start by talking about maybe what might be behind Madame Irma's thought process, running this place and having a House of Illusions in the first place. What is her role? What is her goal? Let's talk about that.